14 polls opened about 45 minutes ago for Louisiana's special elections. This would normally just be a handful of local races, but not this year. Louisianans will send 2 new lawmakers to Congress, one to replace Cedric Richmond in the district that includes New Orleans, and one in District 5 to replace Luke Letlow, who died of COVID-19 days before he was supposed to take office. Joining me now with some expert insight is UNO political scientist Ed Chervenak. Ed, thank you so much for joining us early on a Saturday. First, let's just talk about District 2, the race between Karen Carter Peterson and Troy Carter. They appear to be the front runners so far. How do their political stances compare?
Well, on the issues, they pretty much agree. They both support a $15 minimum wage. They both are for the Medicare for All single payer plan. And they're also supportive of the Green New Deal. But, Karen Carter Peterson, she's probably more along the lines of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Well, the Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez faction, whereas Troy Carter is more a centrist Democrat in the model of, say, someone like Cedric Richmond. So they do agree on the issues, but there's just a very, very tiny distance between the two. It's just a matter of how they get to those issues, how they get to those policies, rather than any real substantive disagreement on those policies.
Interesting. And Carter has picked up some important endorsements, including from Richmond himself. Do you think this is going to sway voters?
Well, that's one endorsement that will probably help. It's really hard to know whether an endorsement helps or not. It's more than just coming out and saying you'll support them. You need to bag them with financial aid, provide them with your donor list. Also, your get out the vote mechanism and machine. Are you using that to get your individual elected? But it can't hurt, but we really don't know if it helps or not.
All right, let's switch over to District 5. Julia Letlow has raised more money than any other candidate, and Donald Trump endorsed her. Do you expect an upset in this race or even a runoff?
I think, as the candidate of sympathy, she should probably win very easily. As you mentioned, very sadly, her husband passed away just after he had won this seat. And so she decided to run. And there's precedence for this. We saw this in the 2nd Congressional District when Hale Boggs' plane disappeared. Lindy Boggs basically became the representative of the 2nd Congressional District and held that seat for a long time. So this is nothing new. We've seen this before.
Let's talk about turnout. How do you think the turnout is going to be for these elections overall, especially in areas outside of District 2 and 5?
Well, we can expect low turnout. There's probably a lot of people out there that are surprised that there's even an election today. We really had the presidential election in November that kind of dragged out. We're just kind of catching our breath from that. And then all of a sudden we're confronted with another election. And so these special elections tend to be very low turnout. So it's going to be chronic voters who are showing up and weighing in on who's going to replace Cedric Richmond in 2nd Congressional District and who's going to replace Ralph Abraham in the 5th Congressional District.
All right, that's UNO political scientist Ed Chervenak. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And polls will be open until 8 tonight. You can visit our website, wwltv.com, to find your polling locations. You can also get your sample ballot at the Secretary of State's website.